Last week, we did a 450 haircut, and I did some clipper over comb. So before I even start with this haircut, I want to know from you guys what you remember the main focal points. There's 3 things that I'm looking for. I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, so maybe some of you guys can remind me. But there's a few things that we discussed last week that I want to make sure that you guys remember and we can get it so we're all on the same page. So let's start. What are the 3 main things I'm looking for?
The shape of the haircut.
Shape of the haircut, number 1. Number 2. Length. And what's the 3rd one? Direction. So we're looking at the shape of the haircut, and the shape of this haircut goes from the nape, basically at a 45, coming out from the crown, and this is the angle in which we're looking at. So the length is going to maintain this angle from the top, and it should stop around the nose. This piece is going to be going into the crown, and we're going to tie the crown into the nape. So you remember, this is the 2 angles that we're looking at. Got that? The length is here. This is going to determine the length, and then we'll make the length on the sides. The other thing that we're looking at is the direction. How do we determine the direction, if you remember? I gave an analogy. An umbrella. So let's take a look at this real quick. This is what we're looking at. So if this was the top of the umbrella, we can part to the point of recession, and then from that same apex, we can part to the back of the head, which is going to create 2 sections. We can split this down the middle, which is going to create another section on the side, and this is the transition that we're looking for. So this section right here is going to come down. The head begins to round from here to here. This is flat. This is flat. Here's the round part of the head. Are you following me? Mm-hmm. So this portion of the umbrella is going to create the direction that we're looking for. Are we all on the same page? All right, cool. So now, let's get back to where we need to be. So with that in mind, the thing I'm going to focus on, because we need length, the other day when I started this haircut, I started right above the parietal ridge to create the weight that I needed at the top. And I use my clipper over comb. I use my comb that is used for clipper over comb. I went in sideways like this. I lifted this hair up, which created a part for me. You guys can see that part. Let me do it this way. I went in like this. I lifted this hair up, which created a part for me. You guys can see that part. I'm going to do the same thing today. However, I'm not going to use my clippers. I'm going to be using my shears. So there's a few ways we can do this. I can go in with my shears to create my section and my part. This hair underneath here doesn't matter. I can lift this hair up by going right underneath, and there goes my part, if you can see it. See my part? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in with my comb, lift this hair up. All this right here is getting pulled down. Now that I have this rested, I can recomb this hair. See how I'm using the shear to hold the hair for me? I'm pulling this straight out, and what I'm looking for is the length that I want right here. This is the main focus. So now that I have this length, and I can determine how long I want this hair, I'll go in at the base of the head, pull this straight out, and all I'm going to do is cut straight across. That is my first haircut. When you look at it, you can't really tell. Turn this real quick. You can't really tell that that hair has been cut. It looks like it's blended in there. Do you see that? So if I turn this head a little bit, you can't really tell. This hair is cut right here. So I'm going to go right below that area that I was cutting. I'm going to lift this hair up. and I'm looking for my guide. There goes the hair that it was cut. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this. Now you can see where that separation takes place. And the only reason you can see that is because the rest of this hair is right here in the temporal area. I'm going to go right underneath that. I'm going to lift this hair up, and I'm going to cut this off. I'm only showing you this first because, like we did last week, this doesn't look as intimidating as this does, right? So I'm going to go in again. I'm going to find my guide right over here. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Go right underneath here. Grab that hair. There goes my guide. I'm cutting this off. Go right underneath there. Lift this up. There goes my guide right on the edge. Do you guys see it? Okay. Once I identify where that guide is, I can go ahead and cut this hair. This doesn't look as intimidating as this. Tilt the head down a little bit. Find my guide. Lift this up. Cut this off. Do you see the shape of the haircut falling? Now, it does take longer when you're using shears because shears are manual and your clippers are not manual. They're mechanical. They're going to cut a lot more per second than you can with your fingers. Okay? So now, does this look as intimidating if someone said, I want that haircut? Not as intimidating. So I could do the same thing on that side, but because this is going to take a lot longer to do and perform, I'm only going to focus mainly on this side. Is that okay? I don't have to do the entire haircut this week, but you guys can practice this on this side. We'll probably have somebody come up and do it today. Now I'm going to go a little bit shorter. I know I don't want to lose all this weight. I don't want to keep all this weight, so I'm going to go a little bit shorter. Now that I'm going shorter, my guide is right there. I'm going to cut this excess off. Taking a look at how this hair is laying. Lift this up, clean that off. Now my weight is in here. I'm going to go a little bit lower. As I go lower, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tilt this going into the temple. So my guide is at the top. Now I got to create my guide going to the bottom. Do you guys see the tilt? This is flat. This is tilted. I'm going to go right underneath again. Lift this hair up. And now I'm going to begin to tilt it. My guide's at the top. I'm going to trim this hair. Go straight across. Go right below that. Lift this hair. There goes my guide. I'm tilting it towards the head. Do you see it? Go right underneath that. Tilting it towards the head. Cut that. Do you see the fade slowly starting to happen? Now, I'm doing it slowly so you guys can catch what I'm doing. I don't want to just keep cutting and cutting. I can go in and make it shorter, but there's a few things that's happening. This mannequin in particular, look how the hair is growing out the side. It's not laying straight down. It's direct. If I comb this down, it wants to bounce back up. So if I cut this too short, what's going to happen? It's going to stick straight up. I also have to keep in mind that guess what? This haircut, because of the direction, is going to go back. So I don't really want to cut a lot of that weight off. And I'm doing it slowly just to have precautions. Let me stand here real quick so you guys can see what happens next. So another thing, and you asked the other day, can you just do vertical? You can, and then tilt it and then cut it off. You can. However, that doesn't work in every case, in every scenario, because the hair is going to be, natural hair has oil to it. It has its own wave or hair stream and direction. And so when you go to lift it up, it may not stick straight out. This is going to stick out because no matter what I do, this mannequin's hair is just going to stick straight out. See that? It's made that way. Even if I try and wet it, let me see if I... It's this particular mannequin. So even when I do that, you can see there's a separation right here where this hair is sticking straight up. It's the way it was manufactured. So I have to cut around this so that way it looks better. But what we want to do is transition this weight into the short hair. So I'm going to go ahead and cut one more time from top to bottom. I'm going to go in with my shear. I'm going to lift this hair up. As I bring this out, I'm going to go ahead and cut my weight. The next section right below it, can you see that? Lift this up. I'm going to tilt this out and cut. I want to get in a position where I can stand and you could see it though, where I'm a little more comfortable. That's probably better. Go right in here, lift this up, cut, go right below that, lift this up, cut, go right below that, lift this up. Now I can cut a lot under here because this is all coming off. But you can see that that transition is happening naturally. Do you see it? So I can go in here. I can cut all this off. This is coming off. I can go right behind here, cut this off. This is coming off. Now, the biggest thing about doing this with shears is that everything is happening with the thumbs. Notice these fingers aren't moving. The only thing moving is my thumb. So when I'm cutting, everything that's moving is the thumb. Now that I have this cut, I can make this a little bit closer at the bottom. Do you see the transition? Let me take this out and lift this hair out. Do you see the shape of the cut? That's what we're focused on. Do you see that angle? It's a little long right in here, but do you see the short to long transition? Okay. That's because right here I created my weight at the top. Let me do it with this hand. Right here I created my weight at the top. And once I got my weight at the top, at the parietal ridge, I began to tilt it towards the head. And as I went lower, I began to tilt it some more. That needs trim. That's the area that needs trim. And then as I got lower, I began to do a little bit more angling towards the bottom. Okay? So let me finish cutting this so you guys can see. I'm going to go back to my top, lift this up, clean it, go right at that parietal ridge, clean that. That's where it all needs cut right there. Go a little bit lower, more angle, a little bit lower. Now I'm creating angle. Once I have my shape, now I can work my way from the bottom up. And all I'm doing is working that thumb in transition from the bottom to the top. I'm not using my other fingers, I'm just using my thumbs. Do you see the transition? This is long, don't worry about this. That's behind, I'm only focused on this area. Do you see the transition now? When I lift this out, do you see that angle? That's what we're looking for. So now, we're working in quadrants. Remember our umbrella? Quadrant 1. I'm going to the next quadrant. So the next quadrant, I'm going right below that, finding my weight. There's my guide. I'm cutting this excess off. Don't need it. We'll go back again, make sure it's clean. Cut that. Go right at the parietal ridge. Angle it, cut. Right below the parietal ridge, angle it. There's my guide. Cut all that off. Right below that, angle it, and cut that off. There's the shape of the cut. Do you see it coming together? Okay. Next quadrant. Umbrella. Section this off. Hold the hair with my comb. Cut. Comb it out. Cut. Next guide. Cut. Next guide. Cut. Next guide. Cut. Notice I'm angling it down. Next guide. Cut. Next guide. Cut. I'm angling it down. As I go closer to the nape, I'm angling down. Do you see the transition happening? This is long. I didn't even cut any of that. Come right back, follow up. There's where my guide is, cut that off. Go below that, grab that, there's my guide, cut that off. Find my guide, cut that off. Now we have the shape of this cut. Do you see it? Okay? So this is what we're focusing on, maintaining shape. So I'm going to do the rest of this half real quick so you can see this come together. Right above the parietal ridge, I'm using my shear to hold the hair in place. Separate the hair, hold the hair, comb it, create tension, find my guide. Where's my guide? There's my guide. Let me show you from the top real quick.
You're not going to angle it towards the occipital or where you go?
So, as I lift, I'll answer your question in a second. So as I lift this up, I'm looking for my guide. Oop, let me turn it right there. Here we go. As I lift this up, I'm looking for my guide. Here's my guide. You see it? Where it's short, this is too long. Lift this up. There's my guide. this is all getting cut. Okay? Go right below that. I'm going straight down still. I'm not angling it towards the occipital. Lift this up. I'm cutting that. Lift this. My guide's on the end. That's what I'm looking for. When I'm lifting this hair up, what I'm looking for is, this hair is out the way. Get that out the way. When I'm going to lift this hair up, what I'm looking for is the guide on the end over here. Let me tilt the head down so you can see it just a little bit more. That's better. Lift this up. See the guide on the end? I'm trimming this. When I get to the occipital bone, the parietal ridge going into the occipital, I begin to then transition it down. I pretty much kept this straight down before I went, because the head begins to round at the occipital bone. So here's where the head begins to round backwards. Here's where the head gets to round from the occipital down. Let me move the camera this way. Okay, so the head begins to round right in this section right here, but from here it also rounds going down in. So from here down, I'm coming straight down because I want to maintain this weight. Okay? Once I get to the occipital bone, that's when I begin to create my transition down into the nape. Can y'all see it good? Can y'all see it good? Okay. If you can't see it, you have to let me know because I can't see what you see. So right here, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this off. Right? I'm going to cut this excess off right here because I don't need it. I know it's going to get cut off. But do you now see the shape of the cut? Do you see the shape of the cut? Now I'm going to work from the bottom up. So pump this up a little bit. Okay. Program. We're on one. Good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work from the bottom, work my way up into the shape of the cut. I'm not going to cut into it. I'm maintaining this shape. Same way we would do with our clippers. Cut this off. Now I can use this black comb. Why can I use this black comb? Because of the color of the hair. It's important to make sure you're using a comb that you can see the hair. If I was using a red comb, this probably wouldn't be the best selection. If his hair was black, this black comb probably wouldn't be the best selection. You always want to use a comb that you can be able to see the hair. Now that I got that, I can go ahead and cut this little excess hanging off. Come here. Cut that excess. And we've maintained our shape. Do you see it? I still have enough weight up here. This isn't the same mannequin you guys use this hair. The density on this one's a little bit different. But it also is getting shorter. I can make this a little bit shorter. So let me show you what I'm doing right here. Do you see that shape of that? So I'm going to go in here, find that shape, and I want to cut this little bit off. It's going to accentuate that angle. See, now you see a better angle? You see it? This is the shape of the cut. The cut doesn't change from here. As I begin to transition the top, show you how we'll transition this top. Instead, I normally start at the apex. But what I want to do right here so you guys can all see this is I'm going to start my umbrella to the point of recession, create a V in the front, my umbrella, point of recession, V in the front. I don't really want to mess with this. I don't want to cut this at all. So let's get this out the way. Section that off. I want to focus on where this hair from the top is transitioning into the side. So I'm going to go ahead and make a small section here, and I'm going to comb this out. Do you see that section? This is the hair that's on top, but I don't have a guide except for right here. So I'm going to find my guide right here at the bottom. Do you see where my fingernails are, where that guide is? I'm going to point my fingers straight down, and this is going up into the shape of our cut. There you go. There's the angle I want. Now that I found my angle, I'm going to maintain my angle, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Now, the shape of this cut is going the whole ways through. Do you see it? Okay? So as I keep moving back, same thing. I'm making the very next section. Get this out the way. Lift this hair up. I'm using the side of the comb with most tension. Once I have that, I'm going to find my guide. I'm going to find my angle, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this excess off. This is flat, so I'm okay with this being flat. Once I get past the apex, what begins to happen? The head starts to round. So then what do I have to do? I might have to over-direct so that way I can follow the shape of the head. So we have our guide for the side, so it's going to lay pretty good. Do you see that? Now, I'm at the apex. It's a point of transition. Move this forward, move this backwards. I'm going to grab my next section. I don't need all of that. I just need a little bit of this. And I'm going to slowly start to angle this going backwards, maintaining the shape of the cut. Next section, over direct. Notice what I want you to pay attention to. Let me get this angle for you. So now that we identify where the apex is, and I'm beginning to over direct, you see how I'm bringing this backwards? I'm going to create my next section. Look how I'm doing it. I'm using my thumb to hold this in place, get all that hair out the way. You see my straight part? And I move this out the way because I don't need this right now. I need to focus on this section. This hair has already been cut, so I don't even need to grab all that. I just need to grab that 1/4 inch section that I just created right here. Do you see it? So I'm going to go in, grab this section, pull it out. I'm going to look for my guide, maintain the shape of the cut, come down and around. There's my guide, cut that little bit off right there. Go back to this so I can show you. So right here, that same guide, that same section that we had, I'm looking for my guide at the bottom, and I'm looking for my guide at the top, and I'm just tying them two together, cutting that little bit of hair off. The shape of this haircut is here. We're staying within that shape. Next section. It's a 1/4 inch section. I'm going to grab this section. Do you see my part? I am over directing. See my part? I'm coming straight back. Find my guide down here. Look at the direction I'm pulling this hair. I'm maintaining this shape. Once I found my shape, because my guide's at the bottom, my fingers are pointing down, shears are going up. When I comb this, it should blend into the top. One more section, straight down the middle. There's my guide. Trim that. It should connect with this guide. It is. Lift this up. There's a little peak. Now look at this. I have a peak and I have a guide and a guide. Do you see that? I'm going to cut the peak off. That's going to round it out. It's also going to make it blend. This, guys, is pretty much what you would need to do. Then the rest of this is going to be over directing it to blend it into the top. All of this now gets over directed to here, because this is where the hair begins to round off, right in here. This is flat. This area is flat. This is where it begins to round out into the back. So I'm going to over direct this hair to this guide. Everybody follow me? So who wants to try it over here? No takers? Yeah. Come on. There we go. Come on up. Let me ask you a question before we actually get started. Do you want to follow my guide here, or do you want to create a new one on this side?
Well, I would want to follow your guide.
You want to follow my guide? Okay, that's fine.
Because like when I usually do it,
But you know you're going to end up with a whole bunch of hair over here too.
all right, let's start on that side.
Okay. So here's an easy way to start it. Measure how long this is. Should be about 3 inches.
Yeah.
It's about 3 inches.
Yeah, almost there.
Okay. So now you know where that is. So if you do it on this side, before you do that, let's section at the point of recession. Right here. Take this a whole ways across. We're gonna lift this up. Just gonna get this out the way for you for now. Let's focus on that. You can lower the chair if you need to. You got an idea where you're going?
Yeah.
Okay. You can go ahead and snip it if you want to.
That's what
Go ahead. Make your measurement and snip it.
just take a piece.
Take this little section right here, measure it out.
Alright.
It's a cheat. It's a little cheat sheet.
Right there.
Okay. You remember the measurement, right?
Yeah.
So if it's off, you did it.
See, why you gonna make me nervous?
My side look good. Your side, we're gonna find out.
Alright, like right here.
Good. Snip it. All right, cool. So now that you've done that,
Now I wanna.
you're gonna section through like this, horizontally. You're gonna lift this hair up. This is gonna be your guide, so everything's gonna be cut to that horizontal and parallel to the head. Use your left hand to hold the comb. You right-handed?
Yeah. but
Okay.
it's my left.
Use your left hand to hold the comb if you're right-handed. Nope, higher. Right there. Very good. Lift it up. Now, before you do anything, you can use your fingers or you can use the shears, put it right underneath, and drop that hair down. Everything that's underneath the comb. Let me show you one more time.
Oh,
So, you're going to go in, create a section, lift that up, take your comb underneath,
take this.
right underneath.
And then like this. Take that off.
You can do that, but yeah, there you go. There you go. Now see your guide?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hold on. There you go. Good.
Hold up. Oh, God, fell out.
It's okay. So go back and do it again.
Smaller sections.
Lift it up. Very good. So while you're there, get the hair underneath out the way. Good. Hold the hair. Hold on. Hold the hair with the shears underneath it. Like lift it up. Good. Now recomb it. Underneath.
Should I do it the other
Want me to
side?
show you one more time?
Yeah, please.
All right. So watch what I do. I'm going to hold it as if I'm ready to cut. Right? So I'm going to go in with my shears. I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to get this out the way. I'm going to grab all this hair and push this down. Hold the hair. I'm going to comb the stuff I don't need out the way. Okay? You can go in like this, lift this hair up, get all this, and drop it. When you need to recomb, hold the hair, go right underneath the shear, lift it up. There's your guide. Go ahead and cut.
Okay, I got it. All right, y'all ready?
Yep. They watching. You know, as a matter of fact, let's give them a better look. Go that way. Keep working your way around. No. Keep walking
Come
around.
on now, I got it. I'm not
Nope,
stopping.
nope.
I had it nice.
There you go.
I had it nice.
There you go.
All right, here we go.
Good. Very good. Nice. Very nice.
So now.
Hold the hair with the shear. The hair up. Get up underneath it.
you got
Right
me
there.
confused.
Right there. Go straight up. Hold it. Move the comb. Go back and recomb the hair. Good. You see that?
Yeah.
Now look at the angle of your comb.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it again. Just stay where you're at. Go underneath with the shear. Lift it up.
I feel like I should have the other end of the comb. No?
Look good to me. You just scared. Now the other problem. Look at your wrist. There we go.
No.
Go
I
ahead.
feel uncomfortable.
Cut it.
That's not right.
What's not right?
Ow. My hand feels uncomfortable. Here we go.
So part of the reason your hand feels uncomfortable, all you's watching, you got all this happening, right?
Yeah.
Elbow in. And yeah, try that. There you go. If you drop your elbow, it makes it easier. Drop your elbow down. There you go. The other problem, you got weight, your fingers.
No, I have something wrong with my arm. I didn't say all that part.
Ain't nothing wrong.
No, seriously, in the middle. That's why.
That might be true. But you have all of your fingers in the shears. I only have to my fingernail in the shears, and I just have the tip of my thumb. Look at this. The tip of my thumb. I don't have my fingers all the way in. If I do that, I can't, that's awkward to me too. But if I do this,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
okay? You got the thumb all the way in. Just put this part of the thumb in. Finger on the tang. There you go.
I can't get that note out.
Right there. Drop your elbow. Take the thumb out.
This thing came into a whole nother lesson.
There you go. Better. That's better. Keep the elbow down.
All right, here we go. Bang, bang. Bang.
Good.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the part I don't get right here.
So I'll show you a few more times real quick. Go ahead, cut it. All right, not bad.
It's bad.
Not bad. So I want you to stand where I am, and I'm going to stand where you are. So part of the problem was you were right in front of it, and that was probably a little bit harder.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead. Let me go in with the comb. I'm going to lift this hair up, get this out the way. See that? Grab the hair, grab the hair, grab the hair. That's all I'm doing. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Get underneath it, comb behind it, pull this out. Now, your guide is over here. Look at where my elbow is. It's closer to my body. I'm not up like this.
Okay.
I'm also a little bit taller than you. So I'm going to get lower. If I get lower, I'm going to do the same exact thing. Look where my elbow is.
But you didn't pull that hair out. How much?
I did.
How much to cut?
I'm going to go right underneath. Hold this hair. Look at my guide up top. See my guide?
Yeah.
Look at my elbow though. It's close to my body. Close the shears. Take your thumb out. Grab it like you're going to punch somebody in the face. Take your thumb out. There you go. Grab it like you're going to punch somebody in the face. Very good. That's good. That's good. Lift it. Good. There you go. See what happens when you hold it like you're going to punch somebody in the face? The shear doesn't get away from you.
But look,
What you looking at?
right here, right?
Our guide is at the top. From the parietal ridge, we're angling it now down towards the head. Nah, this ain't even been cut.
Right, that's why I'm confused. So what am I
The
cutting?
guide is at the top.
What am I cutting here?
All that's coming off.
All this, right?
Yeah, you can cut it off. You can do that if you want to.
No, hold on. Don't tell me I can do that.
You can do whatever you want.
But
My
see how
side
that-
look
but
good.
Look, no, you keep saying that, but look, you did this right here. What is this, like an angle?
I wouldn't even worry about that.
All right, that's what I was concerned about. Okay, you good. You went off fast.
Good.
And then you,
There you go with this. There you go. There you go. Move to the left a little bit. Does that feel better?
it's just,
Oh my gosh.
No.
You know I got you on camera crying, right? Ow.
no, seriously, my arm is messed up. It really
I
is.
seen you lifting weights. Them shears aren't that heavy.
I can't bend it. Right there, right?
Hmm. So you got something else to work on, huh?
Yeah,
What you got to work on?
this.
Shear mechanics.
I
Mhm.
can do it, but I just.
Put your elbow in. All right. Turn your hand over. Nope. Not your wrist.
That I can't do. I'm
It-
serious.
Okay, so how far can you get it over?
Like
Okay.
right there.
All right, but if you could do that, you can lift it up just a little bit more. There you go.
This is gonna be all chopped up by the time I'm finished.
Mine's chopped up too. It's just my side look good.
So you bring it straight out. You keep saying that.
Mhm.
Straight out.
Yep.
and you
So I mean, if it's chopped, you did it. Everybody watch you do it. You're forgetting one major thing,
What's that?
is that I roughed out my haircut first too. So all you're doing is roughing it out.
Okay.
Okay? Let's get this out of the way.
I can just cut it, right?
You could.
I'm just gonna go like this. Bring it out.
Mm-hmm. You could do that. You're low enough to do that. But you see how it bends the hair?
Yeah.
That's the disadvantage when you twist your hair like that.
Okay.
Okay? So let's blast this one more time. And we're going to start back at the top. Yep. Your guide is right here. See how short that is? Do that again. Lift it up. There's your guide.
Okay.
Right there.
Can't go over the first.
Not bad.
I can't bend it.
Okay. So if you can't bend it, you have to lift your elbow up, fine. But I still want you to cut that way. Good.
Can't do that.
Nope. You just either have to back up or move to your left.
So all that comes out.
So this is good, but stop for a second. I want y'all to see this. Stay where you're at. So let's look at stay where you're at. Don't be moving. Look at how skinny this space is right here and how wide this is. So what you're doing is you're going in and you're pulling it out and angling the comb. I'm exaggerating, but you're angling it this way. Come in, lift the hair up, and keep it parallel with the head so that way it's even across. Now look at it.
Yeah.
Cut's not bad,
Because if I keep changing.
but you keep changing this position, it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. So now we're going a little bit lower. As we go a little bit lower, we're going to lift this up. Your guide is at the top. Now you're angling the hair that's underneath. Cut that off. Hold it. No, you ain't going to cut it with my fingers there. Hold it in place. Don't move it. Cut that off.
It moved.
You moved.
There we go.
So what's moving is this. This is what's moving.
Yeah.
You got to steady that. Now go underneath. Lift it up. Tilt the comb. Moved again. Good. Good. Tilt it. Tilt the comb. Tilt the comb. That's good. You're still up and down though. So this is going to be, you're going to be squared the whole ways down. You're not going to be transitioning into this.
Because I keep.
No, you keep squaring it now. Once you have your first and your second square, because that's to maintain the weight, you then at the parietal ridge, is this the parietal ridge of the head?
Yes.
So from the parietal ridge, you begin to transition down to the temporal.
So.
Good. Lift. Good. Tilt the comb.
This way.
Correct. Exactly. Go ahead and cut. Your guide's up here. Look. See that?
Yeah.
That's too steep.
That's too what?
Too steep.
I know.
Well,
I've been
if you
trying to do
haven't
this
done
for a
it,
minute.
It's muscle, yeah, it's like muscle.
if you haven't done it,
I don't see
it becomes challenging. It's not hard though. It's
not.
easy when you know what you're doing. You're still trying to figure it out. The confidence isn't there. And if your mechanics are, listen, if because you have restriction here and you have to have this up, fine. But what you're going to have to do is back up. Is that better?
Yeah.
You were too close to it. Good. Cut it. Good.
Next.
Oh, thanks, huh?
Let's see all this hair.
Yep. Who's next?
Who's next?
Here we go. I thought y'all came to learn.
Y'all messed it up. Y'all did it.
I could leave. So go ahead and follow what he was already working on. Thank you, Brock. Listen, Brock, just don't look bad. It don't look bad, but
Now, when we do the haircut, do you have a choice, either scissor or razor?
you can use the scissors, you can use the comb. I could do this whole cut with the razor.
Or the clipper, I mean?
Yeah, but you can do the whole thing with the razor too. Your old men that come in that they don't want clippers on their head, here's what happens. They think that the haircut, here's what they think. Your old men that are coming in and they're like, I want a shear cut. They think when you put the clipper on that you're going to buzz their head down. It's a military cut. They think you're going to give them what you got. Psychologically, that's what they think. I don't want no clippers on my head. Shears only. And you're like, I don't even know where to go. Shears, it's the same. I'm doing the same exact thing I did the other day. The only difference is I'm using shears. It does take a little bit longer. But the more you do this, the quicker. I could have did this really quick. I had to slow it down so you understood it. Now, again, he's got a broken wrist too.
Yeah, I was holding that wild.
Well, you're doing this. So you're taller, right? Okay? So now, I need you to stand there so they can see what you're doing. Nope, that way. You're good. So, if you guys can see, that doesn't look bad. Okay? It just is not finished down here. So, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go in, first check his work, lift that out, clean that. You're going to go to the next section. Right below it, lift that out. At the parietal ridge, you're going to start angling the comb down towards the temple. Once you get down here, then you're going to work your way back up. But Brock, the shape is fine. You just took a little longer getting there. That's all. Use the other side. Use the other comb. Mm-hmm.
So is this the longest part of the cut is the back area?
Nah.
No.
If you're doing it with clipper over comb, this 10, 15-minute haircut. For you guys doing your fit wrist is broken again.
Then how am I?
Palm to palm. This palm is facing you. This palm should be facing that palm.
So I'm good.
Exactly. Now, it feels awkward,
Very awkward.
so you need to move to the left. And you may have to back up a little bit. Does that feel better?
Yeah,
No, he did.
I did a little bit.
He did. He don't want to fall off the stage.
Yeah, you better.
So if it feels awkward, there you go. It's a little tight. Good.
I have a question. Is there another method besides taking the phone and going like that?
What do you mean, to section it? Do you mean to create? So the question is there another method to grab the comb, the hair and section it off? What method would you?
I see people like sometimes just bring it out and cut it.
Well, when you mean bring it out and cut, let me try something real quick. I want to understand what he's saying. So you're talking. Don't go nowhere. So you're talking about this, right? Yeah, you could do that. There is no but. So we did a demonstration with clip over comb cutting from the top down. You're not going to be able to get everybody. The other thing is, if I was doing it, then I would come this way and pull it out this way. The only thing is my knuckles to this part of my skin, I can't cut past my knuckle. I can only cut up to this first knuckle. So all this right here, there's no tension there. So if I do it this way, I could probably get a little bit tighter in there, right? But I might lose my angle up here. I could do that. The key is I'm trying to teach you how to do these horizontal cuts, work your way down, creating a shape. You gotta get a little bit closer. Look at the angle. Okay? A little bit lower, angle. My guide's at the top. I can't reach my guide. Lift it right here. Vertical seems easier. No. No, you see it visually. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at the visual. Oh, that makes more sense because I'm already in that angle. Look what I just did, though. Look. The shape is there. That's the shape we focused on. Once I clean this up around the ears, this probably needs to be get a little bit shorter because I can't see what I'm cutting. Okay? But that's the key. Then you follow back up and you work your way up. But I'm maintaining my angle the whole ways out. This, you can see the angle. And if you're looking on the monitor, this angle is there. All I'm doing is maintaining my angle the whole ways up. This is a more difficult way, but what you need to understand, if a guy comes in, his hair is not going to be this long, right? So an old guy comes in and he just wants a shear cut. He wants a light trim. We're talking your Italian guy. He's got a huge receding hairline, but he wears his hair going back. You see the guy in your head? You know who I'm talking about? Y'all see him? You're just going to go in. You're going to grab the hair. You're going to lift this up. You're going to go ahead and do your little cut. You're going to go right underneath that. Do your cut. You're going to go right underneath that. Do your cut. You're going to go right underneath that. Do your cut. Do you see the shape happening? This is all going to be cut off. This is all getting cut off. This stuff is getting cut off, right? He's not coming in with his hair long like that. He's coming in with his hair like this. It just needs cleaned up. And so all you do is you go in, clean it, clean it, clean it, clean it, clean it. Keep working your way down towards the nape. My angle is going towards the nape. Clean it, clean it. That's all I'm doing. Do you see the shape and the transition happening? It's only a few cuts. It doesn't really take that. It's only taking long because we got a whole lot of head to cut. Hair. Yeah, come on up. You look like you knew what you was doing. So All we're looking for is maintain the guide, work your way down. Remember, in the back, it goes straight down until you get to the occipital bone, and then you begin to angle it. Step to the side. And the shop you talking about you going to be going to, there's going to be a lot of older guys coming in wanting some shear cuts. I already know. I know their clientele. Nope. You got a broken wrist. There you go. And if it feels awkward, what I tell him to do? Step back and move to the left. That's good. That looks good. You're too low. Now you're just grabbing the hair. Make a section. Go straight into it. You're too low.
Here?
Yep. Good. I see that guide on the end. Very good. Keep going. I'm going to tell you what Gary's going to tell me in about 3 months. He's going to be like, yo, that method really works for them guys I'm cutting. Guaranteed. They don't want 4s on their head and knock it down. When guys come in and say, I want an 8 on top, I don't do those. What is an 8? What's an 8? If I cut an 8 from the front and I work my way to the back, it's going to be shorter in the front than it is going to be on the top. Why?
What if you say that again, sir?
I'll say it again. If I take an 8 guard, I don't know if I have one, but okay. Say I take an 8 guard and I put it here, step to the side, and I put it here and I begin to cut this.
Oh, because it's over-directing as it gets to the back. Or,
If I take this, nope. If I take this 8 and I go the whole ways across the head and I come back and I cut it all, an 8 on top, an 8, make it even on the top, it's going to appear to be shorter in the front. Why? Because this is the highest point of the head. This is rounding off in the front. So that means this is lower than this. This is going to be an 8, but this can't reach that. And guess what? It's going to look like this is too short and this is too long. It's going to appear. And this person looking in the mirror is going to be like, why is this too short and this look long? Because he doesn't understand that his head is round and that this is the highest point of the head. So I'm going to cut this at the length that I need, and I'm going to slowly tie this in because I can always go shorter. I can't go longer. They say I want an 8. I don't even know what that means. How much do you want off the top? Let me see a photograph. Oh, you want that? No problem. I'm going to go in and take my little... The guy you did earlier today, fantastic. You cut his hair, no problem. You did the top, boom, he loved it. It laid real good with the fade, no problem. But if you had to put a 6 or an 8, it'd have been too short in the front. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, burn. It'd have been cut off. So, let's see what we're doing here.
Is that just for an 8?
What's that? It doesn't matter. The 4, 3, 2. The only time is his hair as low as possible. What you got, a 2 on there or 3?
2 up top.
Okay, he's got 2 on there. His hair is low. He wears it low. But if I want to comb my hair back, my head is lower here than it is up here. So if I got a 3, and this is a 3, it's going to appear that this is higher than this because this is the highest point of my head. So I start here, cut my length, and then I work my way. So my cut becomes this. And if they want to go shorter, then it becomes this. If they want to go shorter, then it becomes this. If they want to go shorter, then it becomes this. I'm always longer in the front than I am in the back. Does that make sense? Because the head's round. Now you cutting without me looking. I don't know what you're doing.
That looks good. What are you talking about?
It's all right.
It's all right.
I'm messing with you. Go ahead,
Why
bring
does
it.
it look so choppy, though?
I cut this side. I can't account for anything happening on that side.
I didn't start it, so.
I can't account for anything on that side. The other thing is this is roughed out. It's not perfect. We never really cut from the parietal ridge down to the nape. We were just focusing on that. So don't be messing with my boy Brock.
Fix it then.
You chopping it too. I just watched you.
I know, I'm trying to
You see that, Brock? Look, that was chopped too. Nah, you cutting scared. You cutting scared. So So here's the problem. He's cutting down here. He's cutting down here, right? But he hasn't maintained this shape up here. So you need to get all this together before you start working your way down.
That's why it looks choppy.
That's exactly why it looks choppy. Because this long hair is going down here where he's cutting, and it ain't matching this length. I got your back, Brian.
Do you use thinning shears too?
No. No thinning shears. Who said that? You cursing in my school? You too low, bro. What are you doing? That's not where the guide is. That's not where the guide is.
Right there's the guy.
No, it's not. It's not the guide. The guide is up top. Here's the guide.
Not during the fourth.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right. You having a tough time?
Yeah.
All right. Let me get it. I'll show you something else. So we showed you how to do it with the comb, right? Let me go back over here. So here's the length that we're trying to get. So I can go in like this. See my guide on the end? And I can cut straight across. And grab this hair.
So you don't have to use the comb, I can use my finger?
Mind your business. So I'm gonna cut this right here. All I'm doing is creating a guide. You see it? I'm just roughing this out. I got too much hair, so that's why the hair was bending. But let's take a look. How are we looking now? Okay. Let me get this out the way. Too much hair. Let me focus on this hair right here. Here's my section. Here's my guide. See it? You see it? Straight across. I'm cutting to this knuckle. Grab the hair right underneath. Pull that hair out. Don't need that. See the guide? How are we looking now? Okay. Now that we have our guide at the top, this is still long right in here. Somebody did this. I don't know. It could have been Brock. Could have been Gary. Oh, look, I like that. He took the blame. So let me get this section right here. There's my guide. Cut. Now we have our section at the top. You see it? Right below that section, I'm going to lift this hair up. This hair is too long. My guide's up here. Cut this, cut that.
Can we do that for the 450? Use your fingers for that?
Absolutely. Right below it. Is that choppiness he was talking about? Right below that. My guide on the end, my guide right here. Cut this off. There goes the choppiness is gone. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this view. Do 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 do. Hey, choppiness gone. Still long right in here. Right underneath. Lift this up. I can't reach my guide, but now I want to start facing this down towards. I'm changing the angle of my comb. Right below that. Work my way down towards the nape. See it coming together? Yes, I can do this, but look, I can't get underneath there. Usually there's a shoulder right here, right? Somebody got a shoulder. So how am I going to get under here if I got the shoulder in the way? What's that? Yeah, you can tilt the head, which helps a little bit, right? Then I can go in and I can do that, get the shoulder out the way. But, you know, depending on what you're doing, I just want to keep working my way horizontally, maintaining my angle, working my way down towards the nape. Small sections. Small sections. Small sections. It's awkward now, but look how left of where my target is, my shears are coming at me basically. So how this looks is when I'm cutting, my shears are basically pointing in here. I'm lifting the hair up and I'm coming towards this area. I'm not like this. So from here to here, look at where I'm standing. I'm going in. Look at where the shears are pointing. From there, it looks like it's just I'm flat. But from here, if I don't move, this is the angle in which they're coming at me. Do you see that? They're actually faced right outside my shoulder right now. That makes it easier so I'm not doing all this. This is your old man getting his hair cut. Do you see the fade happening? Right? Come in, cut this. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Brock, not bad. Alex, all right. I'm messing with you. This side is longer than this side.
Side we were cutting on?
Yeah. I actually like this better for your 450, but this side is definitely longer than this side. Do you see the difference? Let's look in the mirror. See that?
Yeah.
If you look in the front, this side looks like it's sticking out further. It's also dry, but this is flatter because it's longer and heavier. Okay? So in the back here in the nape, cut across it. Work your way from the bottom up. Here's the longest part of the head. So if I'm going in, let me do it so you guys can see it. Lift this up, cut. I'm maintaining this shape. So looking straight on here, it looks like I'm going straight up, but I'm not. I'm going like this. Oh, you still can't see it. So look at the angle I'm going in. Look at the comb. Do you see how I'm keeping my comb in this shape? Because the two things we're focused on is the shape of the haircut and the length. We didn't get to the length over here. We maintained our length here, but that helps to determine the shape of the cut. So I don't expect you guys to do the full 450 with the shears. Do the clipper over comb method. Okay? And then follow it up with shears in the back for the taper. Use the shears on the top, comb it and direct it, you guys will be fine. What I'm trying to show you is that you can fade from the top down, creating a guide up top and working your way down in an angle towards the end. If I started down here, it's harder for me to get to the top. But the main point is I need to blend the top into this area right in here, right above the parietal ridge. When you were cutting earlier and you cut up into it, you went right above the parietal ridge. It's harder to transition this hair into that. But from the parietal ridge up, if I have enough weight there, I can transition all this and blend it right into the sides. Okay?
How did you fix it? So when I did that wrong, what were you doing to fix it?
So, can't really explain what we did here, but basically he cut into it following the shape, which left a little shelf like that on top. So what I did was then, since that was the end of the shape, I continued to maintain that angle. Instead of it being this angle, it ended up being that angle. And I did the same thing around, so it looked even.
So I pretty much just created a new shape.
You created a new shape. You created a new shape. But if you see, this is all laying together, right? This side is fine. It's a little bit heavier, but it's all laying together. It's just a little bit longer down on the bottom, still a little bit longer in the top. If I was to measure this, where's my measure tool? Okay, here it is. Slightly past 2, shorter than 2. Yeah, the side's just a little bit longer. Any questions about what we did so far? Nothing? I mean, the big thing I was trying to show you is that you can create a fade. We did the whole blend here with just the shears. That was the main focus of this. Some people do their entire haircut with just shears. They get it down to, they can even do it skin and work it with the skin. That's just repetition. When you see that on social media, if they did the whole entire cut with the shears, even the ball fade part of it with the shears, they're just showing off. Nobody has to do that. They don't have to do that. That's just showing you that they got skills, and they've done a lot of this. Okay? It's really maintaining your guide at the top, because that's going to determine our weight from here to here. Right? This weight right here, if I lift this out, is our guide up top here. You see that? So when I lift this up, watch what happens. I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take this first section. I'm going to move this out the way. I just want to show you something. I'm going to leave this mannequin so you guys can work on this exercise. Is that okay, Mr. D? Okay. So let's find the weight here. There's the highest point from the back. Y'all see it? I'm going to maintain this right here. I'm going to keep my angle that I'm looking for right there. My thumb is. I'm going to cut that. If I cut this, this should fall right by the nose. It's a little bit longer than the nose. But it gives me something to work with because I maintain that angle. If it's not long enough, there it is right there. See it? You see it? We're going to go a little bit shorter. Cut this across. If I bring this down, it reaches a little bit past the nose. This also helps me from this point to this point. Maintain my angle.
So that cut that I did earlier, why was that cut, the shape, original shape straight up rather than some shape like this? Is it because you wanted a one all the way around?
Because his hair was closer, number one, and number two, the shape of the cut is always determined by the parietal ridge. So you're asking why was the client you were cutting earlier straight up and not out?
Yes.
Okay. The reason that the client you were cutting was straight up and not out, one, he had a shorter haircut. Okay? But the parietal ridge is going to determine what's the next direction and the length on the top. The shape of the cut and the length and then the direction. So the shape of your guy's cut, he had a 1 all the way around. If I put that 1, which is basically a comb length, is a 1. If I put that up against the head, I don't have another mannequin here, but if I put that up against the head, see where the head's rounding off from here? Look at this. Do you see that gap right there? That means on the side, it would be the side, forget the nose and everything else. This would be where the head's rounding off. Are you all following me? This area in here, none of that gets cut. So this becomes the shape from the parietal ridge up. It's hard to see that from here, but if I put this here, this becomes the shape from the parietal ridge up. So if I have a 1 down here, which is equivalent to this is a 1/8, this would be your 1. If this is my 1, then everything goes this direction from here up. I got to make this long hair match that. If I don't, I'm going to have a lot of weight. It's going to be hangover. It's not going to be the shape of the cut. So then I have to trim it accordingly, which is why you needed that extra weight. Did that 4 up top help?
Oh, yeah.
If you would have made it a 2 the whole ways up, you wouldn't have been able to connect the top to the sides. Okay? The parietal ridge determines the shape of the cut along with the length. If his hair was shorter, if his hair was much longer, if it was much longer,
Right.
if he wanted a 1, Deja's hair, he had a lot of hair. The shape of his haircut came out further than yours, but it was to the skin. Everything was determined from where that skin was to the shape of the cut, and then everything in between got cut. Shape, length, direction. Those are the 3 things we look. How's this hair going to go? That kid's going to wet his hair. It's going to be curly. His direction is going to be even all the way around. Your guy's going to comb his directed backwards. So if you comb it directed backwards and it's too long, you'll get this. This don't work. So this got to get cut. because of the direction, the length, and the shape of the cut. If this haircut was completed and
So if you're getting that hang time over top of the fade a little bit, that means you change the angle.
you may have changed the angle or it just needs to be cut a little bit shorter. Yep. So if you're taking a look at this haircut should come out like that. Do y'all see it? It's a little choppy right in there. I ain't cut this side, I cut the other side. But this should be the shape of the cut, and then it goes from here to there. So let's do something once. It's a shame that what you can't do is cut your clients upside down, right? But just for conversation's sake. Y'all see it? Huh? Upside down cut? Yeah. You know, I was thinking about that. I really was. I promise you I was. Mm-hmm. You cannot do this on your 450. You cannot do this on your 450. But for argument's sake, because what it is shape of the cut and the length. Shape of this cut comes out like this and up and down in this angle. Upside down, it comes out like this and up like this.
So if somebody comes in with that length on top but wants a skin fade.
Okay, good question. So if somebody comes in, they got this length on top, but they want a skin fade.
Very little bit off the top, like barely any.
You're gonna have a much wider angle. So how high is a skin fade? Is it really low? Is it medium? Is it high? Mid one? So the parietal ridge from there on is going to determine the length. So you'll have it real tight at the bottom. From the mid is going to come out steeper because you need this to tie into the sides. So let me do this. And the mannequins you have is much better than this mannequin. Okay. So when you're looking at, here's another little tip. When you're doing your 450 haircut, if you comb all the hair to the side and to the front, what you should see is an angle from here going down towards the front. So watch this. You saw we created the shape in a way that all, from the top here, it kind of blended in. The sides, it did not. So right now, I'm going to go from right here. Okay. Same thing on this side. Let me get over here. See how the side I cut already has kind of like, it's a little steeper? Okay. Do you see the angle? It's this long piece of hair. What's that? Okay. Now watch. It blends into the side. You don't have that weight hanging over anymore. So that's how you check it. We want to see you create a weight, blend it out, fade it. You use whatever method. Last week we did the clipper over comb. I recommend clipper over comb. Finish this up with some shears in the back. Trimming the top using shears, no thinning shears. Okay, right? And then you comb it all back to make sure that the hair is blending in, right? See that? It's long right here. This ain't the side I cut though. So it's blending in, but now look what happens when I go to the side. See that weight? See that weight? There's too much weight on this side. This side, it's all blending in together. Right here, too long.
So what would you do?
You just clean it up. I'm not going to fix this. I'm going to leave this so you guys can fix it without messing up. It should be close to this. So you're going to go in, and for this mannequin, I only want shears. Mr. D, only shears. This section this back, here's how I would do this. I would section this right from here. I would comb this down. I'd move this out the way. I would go right in, start cleaning it up. Work my way down. This old guy who comes in, he doesn't want clippers on his head. Doesn't want clippers on, I don't want clippers on my head. You know, oh, I can give you that. I'm going to clean that up real quick. He don't want that. He wants this. Because the old Italian guy who's been cutting his hair for 60 years died. He did. He went to the salon. He went to Supercuts. Went to Sports Clips. She whacked him. He's looking for another old Italian barber. They died. So he needs somebody else that can do that feels familiar. Doesn't mean that. So guess what happens when you do this the first and second time? The third time, you can introduce a little bit of clipper. Oh yeah, that looks good. Yeah. You do it again. Now he's more comfortable with what you're doing because he has built the confidence. You already gave him something that was familiar. That's what he wants. And what he wants is this. Come in, cut this, go in, trim this, go in. Work your way down. Work your way down, work your way down, work your way down. Once you're all the way down, then you work your way up. We have another guy. I want you to follow him on Instagram. His name is Peter Gosling. He's out of Canada. He's going to be coming to the school to do a demonstration. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal with shears. He does a lot of this type of work. What you're going to see a lot from him,
What's his name, sir?
Peter Gosling. What you're going to see a lot from him is this. This is a lot of what he shows and demonstrates. This. Then he'll say, okay, what we're going to do is another section here. I'm going to bring this that way. I'm going to separate this. So now I got two sections. Then I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this hair, and I'm going to bring it forward, and I'm going to cut. Why am I bringing this hair forward? Say that again? No, I'm bringing it forward because this haircut goes back. If I cut it straight out, it'll be straight out. If I have it forward direction, this is a whole nother class. If I have forward direction, it creates over direction, which means this hair is going to be longer than this. And as I go backwards, it transitions into the look that I want. So those 80s, those 50s and those 60s haircuts, there's a lot of forward direction movement.
So the top's longer than the bottom?
It's not that the top's longer. Here's what I'm saying. So I'm over directing this hair. This hair is traveling further this way. So this hair is longer, this hair is shorter. But once I comb it back, it blends into the side. So a lot of those 50 haircuts, there is weight in the cut, but they're designed to have weight so it could go into the top, blow dry into the top. Those are things that he's going to come and show you guys when he comes in here. And if you graduate and he shows up, you're always welcome to come back. So we're looking at dates that's going to work for him with travel and stuff like that. But I hope this was helpful. I'm not going to fix this cut. I want you guys to finish it and fix it. But this is what we're looking for. Not a real short. We still need this little bit of weight. This needs tapered a little bit more, right? But not to the skin. Any questions about this, guys?
No, thank you.
No? Good. I know it may seem to look, this is real long right here, this section on the umbrella, but this, I ain't cut this side.
I have a question, Professor. How long is that your, the left side and the right side?
You could hit that record button, please.
Right side with the left side. How y'all gonna do that?
You know, now I would follow that guy.
Follow the guide.
Oh my God. Pick up the guy from where you left off.
So let me tell you what needs fixed on my part of the haircut.
It needs a password.
It does, so it won't even open up? Okay, I'll get to it. This bottom part needs to transition more into here. There's just more weight in here that I didn't really focus a whole lot of time on. But I want you to blend it from the top and work your way down. And then once you got the shape, blend it from the top up just to clean the edges off. All you're doing is dusting the edges off. The problem with using thinner shears is that, one, you don't know how to use them. That's number one. But they remove bulk and weight by having short hairs and long hairs. So if my hair is this long and I go in and I cut, I just did, right? I now have shorter hairs in here, but it doesn't seem like I lost any length. So what that does is those short hairs hold the long hairs up. When you do that, trying to blend the hair in, it might blend right away the very first time you cut that hair and it looks really, really good. But in 3 weeks, when it comes back for a haircut, his hair is going to stick out. If you keep using the thinning shears to cut the hair, you're going to have choppy hair, and then the hair becomes fuzzy, and then you're trying to figure out, why is this hair fuzzy and it's not laying? It's because you have a lot of short hairs holding those long hairs out, and it's not an even haircut. So there are times when you use these. We don't teach you how to use these until you're into the texturizing, cutting portion of the program. So I can do a texture interior, because there's exterior cutting. What we focused on today was shape. That's exterior cutting. Everything we did was exterior. Then there's interior cutting. Interior cutting helps with style. It helps with direction and movement. But you guys got to focus on the shape of the cut first. So I very rarely, to this day, still don't use my thinning or texturizing shears at all. I just don't. I may have one person that might have some really resistant area, and I might go and just kind of dust off on the ends. So I'll give you an example of something that does work, so that you understand the difference. If I'm cutting on the ends, I'm adding texture to the ends of the hair. If I'm cutting inside, I'm removing bulk. So if I'm above the comb on the ends, there's texture on the ends. If I'm on the inside, I'm removing bulk. Okay? So that's a little rule. But if you don't know, leave these in the case. Don't even touch them. All right, guys. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. If you guys come up with any questions, I'll be back again next week. I want to see that mannequin cleaned up, though. Could someone get the stage?